What's going on, people? Mike C-Town here with another episode of Records and Ramblings. I actually don't have any ramblings, so I'm just going to jump into the records. So recently, my local record store, I went there to get some record sleeves. That's all I wanted. And as I was turning around to leave, this next record caught my eye, and it turns out that someone had come in there and sold a chunk of their black metal collection. And unfortunately, for me and my wallet, there were a few items in there that I actually wanted. So the first one being Bathory, The Return. This is Bathory's second full-length album. This is the 2010 pressing of this album. I actually love Bathory, but I actually don't have anything other than this on vinyl. Everything else I have is on CD. Here is the insert. Back is black. I don't really understand why they bothered to do that. Records on brown. Vinyl. I think this is a really important record. I love the first album for what it is, but I really feel like this is where they started moving down that path to really solidifying what black metal was. I think like this and Welcome to Hell are the two really important albums of that era. Well, not the two, but two really important albums to come out that really kind of solidified what black metal was going to be. And of course, you know, y'all can get the fuck out of here with this Venom versus Bathory argument that I've been seeing, like, popping up on Facebook and blogs and shit. Like, it's fucking stupid to me. Like, both bands contributed to black metal. I don't understand why you have to pick one or the other. It's like Tupac versus Biggie. Like, why can't you like both? I like both. I understand if you just don't like one of the bands, but listening to something like that and listening to their first album, I don't see how you can be like, oh, Venom sucks. Or I don't see how you can listen to Venom's first 3 albums and be like, oh, Bathory sucks. Like, I don't get it. You guys are weird. You guys want to argue about everything, man. Just be happy that the shit exists. Next record. This is Leviathan with the Speed of Darkness. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was fucking stoked as shit when I saw this. Any Leviathan in a used store is a welcome surprise. But something like this, man. This is an EP that came out in 2006. And it was originally released as a split, but I've never actually seen that split. And I've never actually seen this in person either. I've seen it on Instagram. But yeah, this is the first pressing of this. And it's actually limited to 400 copies. So I'm really, really happy about that. Mine is on red vinyl. You can still find a copy of this here and there. I don't really know for how much. But yeah, if you don't have this, fuck, dude. This is some classic, hateful, scary, nightmarish, ugly black metal, man. Great, great, great stuff. And I love that it's on Viva Hate Records. I'm sure that has absolutely nothing to do with Morrissey, but when I first saw that, I was like, I was a little thinking emoji. God, I just made an emoji reference in a video. That's fucking lame as shit. Next record I'm going to show you. This is something I never thought I'd see in a used record store. This is Volahn's debut album. I'm sure I'm going to butcher the name of this, but Dimensiones del Trance Kosmico. I'm sorry, I'm a gringo. I cannot pronounce Spanish properly. I was not good in Spanish class. Don't even think I finished Spanish class. But yeah, I've never seen a copy of this in person. This is kind of more straightforward black metal than what we got on their follow-up album that everybody loved. Not as intricate in the way of instrumentation as the follow-up, but this is still a fucking great record. Great, fast, raw black metal. Fucking awesome stuff. Front cover, back cover. Here's the insert, again with a blank other side. I don't know why bands just don't put other shit on there. Like, if you're already printing one side, may as well print both. Wasting trees. And since we're talking Volahn, I may as well go ahead and show you this. I'm thinking at this point everybody's heard this already, but yeah, this is Volahn's follow-up album. I know I'm going to butcher this name. I don't think I've ever really paid attention to people pronouncing it out loud, but Aq'ab'al, I think is how you pronounce it. Once again, I'm an ignorant American, so sorry. Yeah, I just never got around to showing my copy of this, but this is a great, great record. I kind of got onto the Obsession train a bit late with Volahn, so I don't think this was on my best of list for that year, but yeah, listening to their debut album, you kind of see where this was going. You know, and I think it's a really, really interesting progression that they made from the debut album to this album. It's cool to find bands doing something new and different in black metal without it being like hokey and corny and all that. But yeah, here's the vinyl. It's on this nice blue with like gray, smoky something or rather. This was put out on Iron Bonehead. It comes with a really nice poster, but I don't really. Well, fuck it. I've already started. Yeah, if you can see that, neat. Yeah, I don't hang up posters as I've said before. If I was going to do that, I might consider this one because it's actually really cool looking. It's not like dorky and like, ooh, look how evil and whatever I am. So yeah, the next record I'm going to show you. This is New York Hardcore, The Way It Is, and yeah, I talked about this in my video of the 15 albums that changed my life, and I'm pretty sure this was number 1, man. This is the album that I feel like changed my life the most, because had it not been for this album, I don't think I would have got into punk rock, and therefore I wouldn't have gotten into such a wide variety of music. I'd still be listening to the few bands here and there that I actually liked, which I don't even remember what the fuck I liked prior to punk rock. Probably, I mean, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because once punk rock came along, everything else was gone. Yeah, this is the 2013 pressing of this. Prior to this, I had it on cassette, and y'all, again, no, I don't give a fuck about cassettes. But it was limited to 545 copies. Here is the insert with lyrics, and then all these great pictures of those bands from back in the day. Like, look at Nausea. Look how fucking cool they are. Yeah, and it's on green vinyl. But yeah, if you don't know much about hardcore, I definitely think this would be a great place to start, especially if you're already kind of into punk rock and you kind of want to understand like what hardcore was, especially back in these days. Like, this was put out in 88, and obviously I wasn't around in 88, but you know, I got into hardcore in the early 90s. But yeah, this record, man, like all these bands, Bold, Time for You to Wise Up, Nausea, which this is the New York Nausea, not the UK Nausea, which that band's great too, but this one's great too. Warzone, Gorilla Biscuits, Trip 6, Breakdown, Anybody in my way is gonna get bashed. Youth of Today, which was one of my favorite bands back in the day. Sick of It All, Crackdown, Side by Side, Youth Defense League, Super Touch. And yeah, man, this is just great, great, great stuff. So if you don't have a copy of this, I definitely think it's worth picking up. Yeah, let me go ahead and show this last record so I can get the fuck up out of here, because I'm rambling like a motherfucker. This is Of the One and the Moon with Tunes for a Twilight, Tears for a Nighttime. This is one of my favorite releases that came out last year. I'm so glad they pressed it on wax. I think prior to this it was only on cassette, and y'all know I don't fuck with cassettes. But yeah, this is a great album, great Neofolk, a lot like Death in June, which they've always sounded like Death in June, but I love Death in June, so I'm totally okay with that. Great acoustic guitars, chimes, bells, really, really, really relaxing stuff here. Records on Black won't bother showing you that. And yeah, I don't mean to be dismissive. You know, Kim Larson, who does this band, he makes some beautiful, beautiful music. But for me, it just kind of feels like a Death in June placeholder between Death in June albums. And I know that sounds mean, but that's just kind of how I feel. Like, they're not doing anything at all different. They're just doing it extremely well. And that's pretty much all I look for with Neofolk these days. But you know what? Yeah, really quick, a random thought. What's with the metal dudes all of a sudden that are just, like, so enamored by Death in June? Like, I see all these ravings about, you know, Rose Clouds of Holocaust and What Ends When the Symbols Shatter, you know, and Brown Book, those kind of albums. But if you try to suggest anything else like Soul Invictus or In Gowan Ring or Backworld, anything like that, they're just like, nope, I'm not fucking with that. Is it because they think that, like, Death in June is kind of sketchy, so it makes them more evil or something? Like, if that's the case, that's really corny, but I just really don't get it. Like, I've just been noticing this a lot lately, especially like on Instagram and stuff like that, because truth be told, I would kind of feel like Soul Invictus or Current 93 would appeal more to metal dudes than Death in June. It's just, I don't know, it's really bizarre. I know Death in June goes through like this hipster renaissance every couple of years. Like, I remember back in the day when Davey from AFI was wearing a Death in June shirt, and all of a sudden all these kids were just like, oh, Death in June's cool. Which is fine, whatever, I don't care. I just think it's bizarre. So I'm wondering, did something recently happen where like some black metal guy or some death metal guy was talking about Death in June? It's just weird. If y'all know, let a brother know. If you don't know, we both don't know. Anyways, that's it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. Please don't die, and I'll see you guys next time. All right?